For all of you out there listening, if you are in the market for any kind of software development needs, check out Studio NoCode. It's our agency that's built on Bubble experts with nearly a decade of experience building all kinds of Bubble apps: marketplace, social network, payroll company, catering business, data room, ad tech, legal tech. We got a little bit of everything. We've seen it all, and that helps us translate all of our knowledge into your app to build the best product for your customers. We built it professionally, we built it to be secure, and we built it to scale. And we're going to do all these things on time and on budget. So if you are looking for help getting off the ground, getting something to market, or anything in between, give us a call or an email or a carrier pigeon or whatever you want. Studio-nocode.com. We'll probably be there.
We've both been indie making and have a lot of failed side projects where with no code you can build anything and you can build it in one day, but that doesn't mean you should build it.
Welcome to This Week in No Code. I'm your host, JJ Englert, here with my co-host, David Pal, and we have another fantastic show for you this week. We have a special interview with the founder of NoCodeExits, Katt, and she's going to be talking us through some of her favorite no-code exits of all time. But before that, we have a tremendous slate of news for this week, a couple things that we just got to get into. So, David, why don't you take it away?
All right. Well, we have an announcement from Unstable AI. No, just kidding. Stability AI, anything but stable these days. In fact, their CEO has just left the building. He has left amid a criticism that now they have jumped the shark, so to speak, on getting to an open source and decentralized AI standard. This comes amid a big turnover of their executives and some of their top leadership. He's talking about how hollow the company is, even though they raised over $100 million. Could you imagine just leaving that? Ahmad, the CEO, has been known to have some controversial takes and say things publicly that
probably shouldn't have
brought
said.
him some virality, I guess. I don't know, got a little attention. Stability AI is known for the stable diffusion models that have come out. And it's been a bit of a turmoil over there. And so he's out. We'll see what happens. Hopefully the technology, continues to progress. They do some wild stuff in the video and image world. We'll see. Maybe someone comes in and acquires them.
Yeah.
Keep
David,
an eye out for that.
What's your personal take on what's happening here?
I think a lot of non-OpenAI AI companies see a very big uphill battle. And so it's hard to make a lot of money, right? There have been some reports coming out, these huge funding rounds, hundreds of millions of dollars plus, and only millions of dollars in annual revenue. Being able to make that up seems really insurmountable. And we talked about bootstrap versus VC. This is one of the side effects. If there's no path to exit where they're actually going to make out a whole bunch of money, we're going to see some people leaving, right? And we saw earlier this week Microsoft not really acquiring, I think, Mistral, maybe. One of these, they're licensing some models for $650 million and hiring the entire team. But not actually acquiring the business. And so it's this like kind of weird make investors whole, but not get antitrust scrutiny. And it's a very strange world right now in this AI consolidation land. And so I think
just
that's
seems like
kind of what's happening.
OpenAI is getting so big that it's just getting hard to essentially compete against that for the smaller guys, even if they have $100 million.
Well, $100 million can go pretty quickly, especially when you're spending all these costs on training things and running servers and hiring, people for crazy amounts of money, right? Think about Google throwing $2 million salaries at folks. $100 million goes away with every year with a size of 50, a team of 50, right? So it's really challenging to compete. I think a lot of people believe if AGI is coming, whoever gets to AGI first is going to win. And so it's not really a very collaborative environment. We're going to see. I don't have that same take. I think it's going to be a little different than that. But I think it's not looking as this easy path to victory for these companies anymore.
Gotcha. Well, staying on this train, let's switch over to OpenAI, who is now pitching Hollywood with its latest Sora model. And so OpenAI is showcasing its text-to-video generator, Sora, to studios, talent agencies, media executives, aiming to demonstrate the software's potential to revolutionize filmmakers. Let me tell you, the filmmakers that I know in my feeds, I know a lot of them, they're worried. They've been saying AI is coming for their jobs for quite some time, and this headline has them all spooked out. And I don't blame them. This is some incredible stuff that they're able to make with Sora. It's going to change a lot of things. Even Tyler Perry recently postponed an $800 million studio expansion, acknowledging that this AI is coming up, and why do I need all this space if I can do it in so many different ways? It's altering the film industry already, and it hasn't even really arrived yet. So this is a very interesting thing that has been close to my heart just because I've been from that industry. And I'm really interested to see what kind of unfolds here.
I guess like it was over the past year, the whole Hollywood was basically on strike. And I could have sworn that AI was a core component to this negotiation. What do you have any insight on what happened here?
Some of the guilds, like the Writers Guilds, were like, we don't want you to be replaced with AI and all that kind of stuff. And so then they had to write in their contracts that these studios wouldn't use AI for this kind of stuff. Essentially, they were all kind of trying to make it so they could keep things the way things are and not be upstaged by technology and its advancements, which obviously is probably not the right move, but that's all they had. And that's like their position. And so I think they're actually going to purposely stunt themselves with the lack of adaptation of this technology because of such. And that's interesting as well. I don't think that's true for everyone. I think that's true for some of the studios and more of the system, but not the indie players and some of the other people that aren't in that system and that need to abide by those rules. So yeah, they don't know how to approach it.
Yeah. Do you think Hollywood should embrace AI?
I think it's inevitable. I think it's unfortunate that some of these jobs are going to be replaced, but it's going to create new opportunities elsewhere. And I think it's better to leverage that and find better ways to make better stories quicker, faster, and cheaper. Because if we have better content, that's going to get more results. And I think that's what's best for everybody, the viewer, the person creating it, whatnot. So maybe they're not actually writing anymore, but they're actually, scripting the structure of the stories and the characters at a high level and delivering that, whereas the AI is doing all the dialogue and everything. But that gets them to, a 10 episode TV show in 4 weeks rather than 4 years. Yeah. Maybe so. I don't know. I don't know that much about it, so it's hard to really speak into the detail, but that's kind of what I'm sensing from my colleagues in the film industry.
Interesting. That's cool. Lastly, let's move on to our last topic. Pienso, a new platform building a no-code tool to help train AI. Now, it's interesting. I think no code in this context is not really being used properly. This is a platform that's going to help people fine tune and transform the models, the base models, using a platform, right? I think like the idea that it's a no code platform, it's just a web platform. Like it is no code, but it's also not no code in the sense of you're building new models. You're kind of just using a UI to do things.
More meant for researchers, marketers, customer support teams that aren't technical, but want to start using these models and training their own models for their own purposes.
Yeah. And they're doing a little bit of the human feedback models, right? Reinforced learning, human feedback, right? Those kinds of things like data annotation, that's what they're using this for. There are other tools like Scale AI that do a lot of this. I think now we're just going to see a lot more of these tools pop up that aren't Scale AI and internal tools that are being built at OpenAI. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like it's a cool tool. I wouldn't call
Yeah.
it a no-code tool. It's just interesting.
As another tool entering this arena that's kind of
Yeah.
doing this as well.
Yep.
Why don't we move on to our interview with Katt and get into some of her favorite no-code exits?
All right. Well, now a quick break for our first sponsor of This Week in No Code. JJ, who's our sponsor?
Design. Wonderful Chrome extension for Bubble. It converts your Figma designs into Bubble by copying your Figma designs and pasting them into Bubble using their Chrome extension. They're going to save you 5, 10, 20 hours a month in doing this manual, laborious activity of bringing your Figma over to Bubble that you do for every build. But not only that, they also have a pre-built library of components. So if you don't have a designer, but you are looking for beautiful UI components, you can copy those components into your Bubble apps. You got to do it.
And just for our listeners, we have a special invite code and discount that you can take that $25 and even save more. I think it should be way more than $25 and a discount. You'd be crazy if you don't sign up with the link in our episode, in our show notes. Get the Chrome extension, start clicking, start designing, and build beautiful pixel-perfect Bubble apps.
Back to the show. All right, so here we are with Katt from NoCodeExits. Katt, welcome to the show. Thank you for being one of our listeners. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hello, thank you for having me. It's really an honor that I can be on the podcast instead of listening to it. So yeah, thanks. About myself, yeah, I'm Katt. I live in Belgium with my husband and 2 kids, and yeah, my background is not technical at all. I used to work in a big tourism corporation where I worked in the digital team, managing all kind of digital projects around content marketing, project management, digital customer experience. I always had a little neck for cool tools, and I was always the kind of person in the company that was sharing like the latest cool new tool that we should use and stuff like that. And I also always had this little interest in entrepreneurship. But I was always just admiring and checking out the products on Product Hunt, listening to the Indie Hackers podcast. Yeah, also maybe some brainstorm sessions with friends about, we should start our own startup. And then we would make a super cool logo and like 1,000 mock-ups and really invent the coolest features that were probably not technical feasible at all. And then after a few weeks of brainstorming, the excitement would die because we saw it too big. You didn't have these small wins to keep you going, and we couldn't code. That was also one of the problems.
That's always, it seems, it's really common in the brainstorming session. It's super exciting, right? Because everything's possible, right? Like you're thinking, I could do anything. And everything you do is progress. And then like as you get closer to I actually have to do the not fun stuff, then it's like, well, maybe I don't really need, I don't have time. I lose interest, and
maybe that idea is not so great.
Let's move on to the next idea.
Yeah.
And also we reached out to some developers and asked, hey, can you maybe build this for us? And then they start to make a price, and you are like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
never
I don't
mind.
like it that much after all.
Yeah. Once you have to make the investment.
Yeah. So
but
it was
you
just
eventually
dreaming.
learned. You eventually learned how to do this yourself. So how did you make that step to becoming a builder?
So I did discover NoCode in 2021.
Okay.
I was still working at a tourism corporation. It was during COVID, and our company was really struggling. There were always new regulations coming for COVID. So then there was this rule, now tourists should follow these rules. And in another country, it was now they should follow these rules. So it had a huge impact on our holiday destinations. And we didn't have a way to communicate this to our guests. And we had this really old CMS, and it could only publish the updates 2 times per week and never on a Friday.
Oh, wow.
So it was so difficult to keep the information on our website up to date. And so our customer call center was really flooded with complaints and questions, and it was a terrible time for everyone. So I started looking to create a solution because my team was burning out, and IT, our internal developer team couldn't help. They had no resources. They could help us 6 months later. They could make a solution, but we couldn't wait that long. And for them, it was not a huge problem. And then I discovered software on Product Hunt, and in 2 hours, I made an Airtable with all our activities that we offer in our holiday destinations, and people could just filter. I did it for all languages because we had a company in 8 different European countries, so in 8 different European languages. And with just a single click on my phone, we could have the information live on 8 websites in a matter of seconds. And I showed it to my boss, and they were like, okay, let's put the slides. And I think it was still the early days for software, so they helped me with to create a custom code that we could embed on our own website. And cool. we used it for 2 years. And it saved us.
That's awesome.
So this was necessity. Like, this needed to happen. It needed to happen today. You didn't have 6 months to learn how to build in Bubble.
You didn't know how to build
it immediately.
Yeah.
And
it was an amazing feeling because I wasn't dependent on the developers in our company. I didn't have to beg them to help me, but I could just make a solution myself, and I knew what was necessary because I knew what kind of information and where we wanted to publish it. So no hundreds of meetings to define I need this or I need this and it should work like this. No, just a few hours of creating and
you've been addicted ever since.
Yeah.
It's an incredible thing, like building something for the first time where you didn't think you were smart enough or you didn't think you could, and then all of a sudden, whoa, I just did this, and you ask your boss, yes, this is actually good. This solves our problem. Let's do it. Let's push it. And then you're the hero at the office.
Yeah, for sure. And we kept using it, so yeah.
That's awesome. What did your boss and other team think about using NoCode, this other platform? Were they like, yeah, this is great, let's do more stuff with it? Or were they, hesitant? What was their take?
I'm not sure how it would have been in different times. I think that then they would have been more hesitant to adapt a new tool like that, especially the more technical teams. But we didn't have the luxury to be picky, so they were like, okay, this is a good solution, let's go for it. And it was also
Do they now that it's in there, are they more accepting of NoCode? Do they did they ever add other software apps to do stuff, or?
I'm not sure at this moment because it's now been a year since I left the company. But we kept using it for other projects too. So they accepted it, I think.
Adopting it. Yeah, that's
it
great.
was also, of course, we didn't have users didn't have to log in or something like that. It was just to show information in a practical way. So that's why it was probably not such a big problem. But the website was visited by 300,000 people per month. So it's still a lot of people. That's how.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And then so you implemented this. Then you were like, great, I can build stuff, right? And then did you catch the bug and just want to build a bunch of things? Did you how did you go from there?
Then I was more like, okay, I want to learn more about this no code stuff. So I followed the no code bootcamp from 100 Days of No Code.
Cool.
And there it was just super fun and eye opening that you suddenly were in an online course with people that were like a little bit the same like me, a bit geeky, a little bit excited about this tool and excited about building products. So that was also just a very fun moment for me, that to find your people. And there I built a little side project. That was the goal of the bootcamp, that you, at the end of those 4 weeks, that you create your own simple side project, your first MVP.
And what did you
for
build?
me, there was No Code Guru, it was named, and it was a simple chatbot that advises you which no-code tool is the best for your use case.
Cool.
It was before ChatGPT, so then it was impressive that you could chat with it. Now it's not impressive anymore. I listed it on after a while, after improving it and not really growing it. It wasn't making any revenue. I listed it on Acquire just to test something out. And after a few months, I got an offer, and it was acquired for around 3,000 euros, which is, it's not huge, but for me, that was again like this eye opener. Like, I built something and someone wants to pay for it. That's amazing. So it was tiny
so
way,
empowering.
Yeah.
Is that how NoCodeExits came to be?
Yeah. And then I tweeted about this, about my tiny exit. And that tweet blew up because I didn't have a lot of followers. But that tweet really went viral. So I thought, there's a story here. And I thought, okay, let me try to start a newsletter around this. I created a Substack page. I said in 24 hours, I will post the first story, publish the first story. And
you were the first story?
Yeah. I was also leaving on holiday the next day, so I really had to go south. So I again tweeted about it, and I had, I think, 500 subscribers in 24 hours. So I was like, okay, let's do this.
That's cool.
And that's how it started. Yeah.
Now a quick break for our sponsor of This Week in No Code.
If any of you guys are looking to learn more about Bubble, whether you're a beginner or a professional looking to get certifications and take your skills to the next level, you got to check out NoCodeAlliance. It's been a personal project of mine for the last 2 to 3 years. I have 5 different courses there, all focusing on Bubble and taking you from 0 to pro. And these courses tell you everything you need to know to start earning 6 figures as a Bubble developer. So go to NoCodeAlliance.org, either get started with the beginner course or take our package and go from 0 to pro in the next 3 to 6 months, and you won't regret it. That's NoCodeAlliance.org. Back to the show. Like, what is it about today? Like, what is the newsletter? What has it grown into?
The first thing was that there were all stories about no-code makers whose product got acquired. Then I also started to do no-code products that are just generating revenues. So just no-code success stories, because there was also missing a little bit, I think, a resource about that. And now it's, more than just a newsletter. I try to grow it into a platform where you can really get inspired of what's possible with no code, and which tools are that can help you, which courses can help you get started. That's
I love it.
slowly improving it day by day.
That's
But
awesome.
now I'm at since this week at 10,000 subscribers, so that's a nice milestone.
That's
Congrats.
congratulations.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
everyone listening, make sure to also add to that list. We want to get you over that next 11,000 mark.
There we go.
Check it out, NoCodeExits.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
what in this process, it seems like you had left the travel agency and now you're working as an indie maker. Is it full time? Is this something on the side?
It was first all still next to my job for more than 6 months, I think. And then in February 2023, I quit my job and I started to do some freelance work, a little bit in my previous expertise, but also a little bit in no code, mainly with Airtable and software. And also, work on my own little side project. So that was really fun, but it was also interesting because, I think you guys can relate. But when you just start out as a solo maker, you would say yes to everything, and you are like freelancing and building products and creating content, and all this so much stuff. So it was a learning process the last year, but really enjoying every step of it.
So looking back on this, 2021, shit hits the fan, COVID, lots of challenges in your full-time job in the travel world. You stumble upon software at Product Hunt. You go, hey, I think this can help communicate with our users. Let's check it out. You build a quick MVP for the clients, and 2 years later, you're now exited and a full-time indie maker. That's like a pretty awesome story. Is that
cool,
what you
right?
thought was going to happen when you stumbled onto software?
I never could dream of it. No, I still can't believe it actually. That this is now my full-time job. So really happy.
That's incredible. I love when you said that you found your people, right? Like being like a company, like you were at this company, you like these tools, but like you were kind of an outcast, not an outcast, but different in that way. And then when you joined,
there were
100
no
Days of
other
No
people
Code,
that were geeking with me about these tools.
and then you found your people. Like, what do we call you people? Like, what is the terminology for that? Is it no coders? Is it geeks? Is it workflow problem solvers? Like, what do we call you guys?
I think makers, maybe people who
Makers. Okay.
People who dream of building or solving problems, no matter how small they are.
These people exist all over the world. They're in every single companies, and they kind of got that urge. But I feel like so many of them, like, they don't know what's possible. They don't know where to go. They don't know where to find community. They don't know what to call themselves. And we need to have some kind of maker group of like, come, you're welcome. You are accepted here. Let us help you.
For sure. Because I have been watching also for so long that I was just reading the Indie Hackers Forum, but I was never posting myself. I was just reading. So it was also a little bit thanks to the NoCode Bootcamp. Their principle is that you have to build in public. And so that's a good way to connect with people and to start chatting and grow your followers a little bit.
Fantastic.
It really helped me to get out of those shadows.
Out of the shadow. We don't get to see too many no-code hacker, maker, tinkerer people on the Indie Hackers podcast. It's a lot of, code. I think in the world, it's mostly code, a small subset of non-code, non-technical coders, basically. And so it's nice to see like anyone who didn't go get a computer science degree build stuff, right? It's important that
for
those
sure.
stories get shared. And that's one
Yeah.
of the beauties of NoCodeExits is it's about not the person who, just coded it, right?
Yeah.
So tell us about some of the new exits that you've seen. Anything stand out as particularly exceptional that you should highlight?
I have a few favorite stories.
Let's do it.
Maybe it's interesting to start with the biggest one because that's always one people like, and that's MakerPath. I think you guys will know it.
Yep.
So MakerPath started as a website with just some tutorials of Ben. That's the founder building all kinds of stuff with no code. It was in 2019, so it was really early no code times. And he's I think he has a background in community. So also completely non-technical maker, building this tutorial website with Webflow, MemberStack, Zapier, Airtable, JetBoost also, I think. And he can grow this to this huge no-code education platform with a community, a job board, a podcast, a huge library of tutorials. And he grows it to 400,000 annual recurring revenue.
Wow.
And the cool part is that it was acquired by Zapier for a huge amount. They didn't share how much, but it's a life-changing amount. And so that's the biggest story.
Yeah,
that's
it
incredible.
is a
Biggest
wonderful
story.
story.
Yeah.
It is a no-code product built on no-code for no-code.
Yeah,
right?
Acquired by NoCode.
Acquired
yeah,
by
and
no
acquired
code,
by
right?
no code.
Yeah,
Full
no code
circle.
all the way up and
Yeah.
down. Which
I
is
know.
which
I
is
love that
so
product.
fantastic.
I thought it was fantastic. Well branded, well done. You would never know like that it was on NoCode or NoCode or whatever. You would never know that a non-technical founder did it. Like it was just great value. I really enjoyed it. I feel like Zapier hasn't really lived up to it. They've kind of, made it more just Zapier content now. But otherwise,
and
I
it's a bit
really enjoyed it.
silent now.
It's a bit silent, yeah.
But they still have a lot of
common.
links. Right?
Yeah,
yeah.
It's pretty common
so
that happens,
cool
right?
Story.
If Ben's pulling it himself, mostly as soon as he gets the acquisition and can go do other things, usually that happens. I think he's now doing an AI-ish version. Ben's Bites.
He just launched it, I think. Tutorials
maybe
on how
OpenAI
to use AI.
There we go.
That would be cool.
Awesome. What else you got?
Another one I really like is it's a smaller story, but it's a viral post generator from Tom, and he's a marketing manager, and he created a web app that helped you to make these cringe LinkedIn posts. So just really a fun little tool, nothing serious, completely free. But it went viral, and he posted it on social media on Reddit, and it reached almost 1.5 million users.
Wow.
And a week later, he was contacted by the founder of Tapilio. That's a LinkedIn content and scheduling tool.
Okay.
And they wanted to acquire this tool and to use as side project marketing so that they could promote their own own products on this website.
Cool.
To get new users. So they sealed the deal. They didn't share the amount. But now if you visit the tool, it's now embedded on the website of Tapilio, and it's a huge banner with try our tool.
Yeah.
So,
do you know what
cool
stack it was built with?
It was built with Adello.
Okay, interesting.
It's a web app. Yeah.
Wow.
Haven't heard many people building stuff with Adello at all.
Especially ones that go on to sell like that. That's got to be like the best use case I've heard of Adello or success story.
Yeah, it's also one of the only ones that I have on Adello. Maybe
Yeah.
one other, but not an exit story. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes
Yeah.
sense.
But it
Awesome.
looks pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You love to hear it. I know that there's still not many of it because it's still a new industry. It's still a
Yeah.
small industry where people are still building and learning it. But you just love to see the validation of had this idea, it wasn't technical, but it was just a good idea. I used the no code tool. I spun it up. I got 1.5 million users a couple weeks later, and I sold it. Like an exaggerated version, but
Yeah.
many people are doing this. You did it.
Yeah.
I sold it. David did something like
Mhm.
it. Your newsletter features it. It's
Yeah.
definitely possible.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it shows that it doesn't matter how it's made, as long as it brings value, then it's okay.
Yeah.
What do you think
And
about people who build for the sake of selling on like a micro acquire or tiny acquisitions? Like there are some people that like, some people want to build a product, build a business, try to get the business off the ground. If it doesn't work or it doesn't go as far as they want, then they try to sell. And then there are other people who are just launching just to sell. Any thoughts?
I actually think it's a good strategy, because there are makers who are good in going from 1 to 0, validating the ID, getting those first users, and maybe creating a good roadmap, um, and yeah, really building it out. And then there are people that are better in growing it and bringing it to market, and maybe getting the positioning right and stuff like that. So I think it can be a good combination to do it like that. And
Do you think people are like it's what would you say the success rate is for people who do that instead of trying to find the marketer to join the team and do it together as opposed to just throwing it up there?
that's hard to put a number on, but there are always factors that will help you get acquired faster. The first one is, of course, if you have recurring revenue, it's easier for the buyer, because they know, okay, when I buy this project, I will earn it back in X months if I continue like
sure.
it's now. Then also, if you can run it on autopilot, so not e-commerce projects or I don't know, agencies, but like software app, mobile app directories, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Another one I think that also always works well is if it's business model ready. So not that the buyer has to implement payment stuff, or that they really have to still build out features, but that you, let's say,
It's
maybe
ready
you
to
are not.
accept payment kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which usually goes with it's making revenue.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, what the CEO of Acquire said is that no-code projects get acquired more easily, because it's much more easier to transfer, and it's also much more interesting to those people that are maybe good in marketing but that don't have a technical background. So no-code
Love it.
is an advantage.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. Last night in class, before the class started, the student raised their hand. They're like, listen, I love your class on NoCodeAlliance, but I really wish I had a 15-second rewind or fast forward. Is there any way you can add that? And this was like 4 minutes before class. I was like, sure. And I added it before class and shipped it. And I was like, there you go. It's now there. And it's like,
Yeah.
I'm a business owner running this. I got feedback. I turned it around in 3 minutes. They're happier. Let's move on. Right? Like that's the power of it. As like, especially as a business owner that knows no code tools, man, you can move so much faster. You can implement so much more feedback. You can find so much more success. It was night and day when I went from a non-technical founder running a business to still a non-technical founder running a business, but knowing how to build with no code. The difference of like being able to feel in control of your business rather than feeling like your business was controlling you because you couldn't control any of the tech. It was someone else, So
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
Have you had any chance to interview the acquirers of the businesses?
Interesting.
Sometimes I try to, if I know the name, I try to reach out to them. So sometimes I have a short comment or a short insight from them.
Gotcha.
And
Yeah, I'd be
most
curious
of
to
the
know
time
why. I'd be curious to know like why people are buying no code tools. Like who are they? What's the persona of
yeah
that person? Is there a no code roll up fund who's just buying a bunch of bubble apps? Is there, is it somebody who wants to start a side hustle but wants some validation first? Like
I
who
I
it's
are
can
these
go
folks?
here. I'll jump in quick because the person that bought my tool. He was really good at marketing. He was really good at go to market. He had an idea for what he was looking for, and my software was like 90% there. So it's like I could apply little engineering, rebrand it, and really market this really well to get it up. It's already accepting payments. Already has core functionality, less risk. And so that was the persona that I saw.
Yeah,
How about you?
yeah, indeed. So they want a validated ID to have less risk to start their journey of entrepreneurship. But there it's pretty diverse. I think you also have just companies buying no code projects or any other project on Acquire to grow their customer base, so they can promote to an existing list of customers their own products. So actually,
Got it.
they just buy customers.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, that's a
there's
common
also
acquisition
existing
reason. Yeah.
then there's of course also existing companies who buy a project to save time. So instead of building a feature themselves or maybe a new a side project marketing themselves, they buy something and integrate it in their product. Uh,
Mhm. I think that's
and
a really interesting point, the
yeah,
saving the time. This is one of those things that most people don't consider when they're selling their app is they're looking at the revenue going, "Hey, yeah, I mean, I'm doing $100 a month, let's say $1,000 a year, so I should, sell it for $5,000."
yeah,
Well, depending on the app and its complexity, everything that you spent the time to build, even though it cost you nothing to build because you built it yourself, would take months in code to build.
yeah,
And so being able to not just save them money, which is also the developer's time, but give them a functional product 6 months before they would be able to launch it themselves is a really competitive advantage for a business trying to launch products and features. And
yeah,
that's not usually the pitch that people take.
yeah,
Well said.
yeah. And the biggest group is, I think, the non-technical makers who want to have the validated ID and grow it.
Which no code fits really well into that. Non-technical makers wanting to move fast. No
Yeah,
code's right there. It's easier to operate this. It makes a lot of sense.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing all of this with us today. Thank you for coming
Yeah.
on the pod. It's
No
been
problem.
wonderful having not only a listener, but an active community member, adding value back into the no code ecosystem, here to share these stories with us. And they've
Before
been some great
before we
stories.
go, do you want to talk about your new product hunt launch?
That's right.
Oh
How's
yeah,
that
yeah,
going?
yeah. So let's build a keyword. It's I'm doing this together with Lee. He's a
Lee
bubble
from
dev.
Lee Launches, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
The newsletters
And
combined.
and we're a good team because he's a bit more technical because I'm not that of an advanced no code maker. And I'm more marketing oriented, so we make a good team. And we were inspired by this tweet from Danny Postma. He's a very successful indie hacker with a range of successful products. and he shared his playbook on Twitter on how to build product that that has customers on autopilot. And yeah, the golden formula is you look for a keyword and it should have decent volume, so monthly search volume, and no competition, so that not too many people are already writing about this keyword. And also enough daughter keywords, so you don't only rank for one keyword, but not for multiple keywords. And in his playbook, he shares like multiple steps how you can research this.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought that can be made easier. So we created a tool in Bubble that where you input your keywords, and it checks then those 3 points if it has decent volume, low competition, and enough daughter keywords. And then you see in one step if it's a good idea to build a product around this keyword or not. And we really like it because we've both been indie making and have a lot of failed side projects where with no code you can build anything and you can build it in one day, but that doesn't mean you should build it.
Mm-hmm.
Well
So
said.
and
Yep.
there that solves the problem of having proven demand that people are looking for this.
Mm-hmm.
And if you build a product around that keyword and you launch it, you will get traffic on your website. So that's the golden, how do you say that? The holy grail.
Yep.
And yeah, we will launch it on Product Hunt, Product of the Day, which was really cool.
That's awesome.
Congrats.
That's great.
We are now, it's been almost 1 month and we are at $2,000. So
Congrats.
that's
Great.
also fun.
Congratulations. Yeah.
And people really like it, and we get a lot of feedback because I often launch products and then you ask people, and what do you think? Can you share your feedback? And you hear nothing. It's
Yeah.
hard to keep them interested, and here people are really on board. So that's really fun.
That's really cool.
Great. And
Yeah.
how do people find this again?
It's buildthekeyword.com. And there you can
Okay.
try it out for free.
Buildthekeyword.com. We'll add it in the show notes.
Buildthekeyword.com.
Yeah. Thank
Fantastic.
you.
Yeah. Check that out as well. Yeah, it's a really cool tool. I checked it out. I saw it on Product Hunt. Played with it. It's great.
Yeah. And it's cool because Lee has been adding all kind of improvements and features in just a few days.
Yeah.
So we are able to move fast, and that's really fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Looking forward to learning more, to using more of it. Always feel free to reach out if we can help you over here at This Week in No Code. But otherwise, it's been a pleasure having you on the podcast. It probably won't be the last time. So stay in touch.
Maybe
and
a huge exit in a year.
That's right.
There we go.
Yeah. We'll have you back on for the exit.
And Gigi, let me know if you want to talk about software later, another moment.
I will.
Yeah.
I would definitely. As one of the first users, way back when you found the Product Hunt, you had the success story, you've used it all through years. I will definitely be in touch.
Yeah. I have promoted a lot of software to my readers.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you. This was really fun.
Awesome. It was wonderful having Katt on the show. I also really just appreciate that she's an active listener listening to us every week, but then also she's like the maker. She was a non-technical, didn't really identify with anything, but loved new cool things, built a tool to solve her own problem or solve her company's problem, which went on to being used for years, where 300,000 people or more saw it on a monthly basis. And then she spun up her own projects, sold one of them, is now doing 2 other ones, and bringing more energy, more success stories to this industry, which is super fun. So if you haven't already, check her out. We'll put the links in the description. But otherwise, another great week for This Week in No Code. And David,
absolutely. We'll see you next week in No Code.
See you guys.